Welcome to No Recipe Required. Hope you're doing well. I'm Dave, I'm your chef tonight. Now, everybody loves a good lasagna, and that's fortunate because tonight I'm going to make you a good lasagna. It's a classic in a lot of homes. Some people have problems. Sometimes I see it too runny, sometimes I see it a little too dry, and there's also 100 different variations, right? You can make meat lasagna, vegetarian lasagna. You can kind of put lots of vegetables in there. You can put different kinds of cheeses in there as well. This is going to be a pretty standard meat lasagna. We'll do this for the first time, and maybe in coming episodes we'll put a few twists on it. Let's go ahead and take a look. Okay, let's get started on our lasagna. What I've got here is actually a package of frozen spinach. I find for this dish, frozen spinach does just fine. This happens to be a 10-ounce package. I actually wanted to get 2 of these, but when I went to the store, they only had 1. Doesn't mean I'm not going to make the recipe or I'm not going to make lasagna tonight. I'm just going to use 1. It's not a big deal if you adjust some of these quantities. So what I'm going to do, you can see there's a ton of water in this spinach. I'm actually going to bring this whole thing. I just wrapped it in paper towel. I'm going to bring it over to the sink and essentially just squeeze it out and squeeze out again. And look at all that water. Okay, my spinach now is squeezed out, just right in that paper towel. And like I said, a lot of water came out. It's probably half its weight is just water. And getting rid of that is going to really help you out. It certainly doesn't need to be bone dry. You're not putting it out in the sun or anything like that. Now the spinach says it's pre-cut on the package, but I'm just going to go ahead and go through it one more time with a knife because I do want the spinach kind of nicely integrated into the ricotta filling. So it's time to cook our noodles for lasagna. I've bought some dry pasta, the shells that are pretty traditional, and I'm going to go ahead and boil these and cook these off. Now, there's a couple questions. One is how many sheets do you need? The easiest way to figure that is go ahead and take the pan, whatever pan you're using, and just take the pasta sheets, lay them out on the pan, and figure out how many you need to cover, and then figure you need at least 2, maybe 3 rows. You also want to use a pan that's big enough to hold them, obviously. This pan is just big enough for these. If I had larger noodles, I'd grab something larger. And then finally, how much do you cook them? I think it's important to pull these out even before al dente, probably 2 or 3 minutes before the suggested cooking time. Okay, my pasta sheets have been going for just 3 or 4 minutes. They still are very al dente, which is exactly what I want. Now what I'm going to do, is try and re-grab them, and I'm going to drop them into a pot or just a dish of cold water here, or cool water, to stop the cooking process, and then that also keeps them nice and easy to pick up. Okay, let's go ahead and build our lasagna. Now, like I said, I've got a meat lasagna here. Oh, what I did with the pan here, I just put a little bit of olive oil on the bottom, on the sides, to help prevent things from sticking. And I'm going to go ahead and start off with a little bit of my meat sauce. And again, this helps to keep that bottom layer of pasta a little bit moist, as well as prevent any sticking of the pasta to the dish down on this side as well. So once I've got that thin layer of sauce down, I'm going to go ahead and take my pasta sheets that I've just cooked a little bit, 4 or 5 minutes at most, and build up my first layer of noodle. One nice layer there, and then we go in with our ricotta. Now here I've got the ricotta and spinach mixture, and I'd like to just throw a few dollops kind of right down the middle in a few places, and then either use a spoon or even just use your hands to kind of spread it out and make a layer down there. You want to make sure you kind of get everywhere. In thickness, I go just a little bit thicker than the pasta itself. Like all these pasta dishes, you do want to make sure you keep a nice balance between the noodle and the sauce and the stuffing here. If you have too much of any one thing, then it just kind of all seems a little bit out of whack. Once I've got that laid out, I've got a mixture of Parmesan and Asiago cheese here, and I just do a thin little layer there for a little bit of flavor. And then I'm going to go ahead and put another layer. Start with my sauce. And then we'll do another layer of our filling, of our ricotta filling. And once we get up to the top, I'll show you how I top it off with a little bit of mozzarella cheese. Hey, one of the other things I wanted to show you is if you end up, because your pasta shapes with little holes or patches like that, you know, no big deal. Just break your pasta up into pieces, your extra sheets, and lay those down to plug up the holes. Nobody's going to know. It all gets covered up, so it's absolutely fine to do. So let's go ahead, we'll put our last layer on. I've got 2 layers of pasta there, and 2 layers of sauce, 2 layers of the ricotta cheese. I'm going to throw on 1 more layer of my Parmesan, 1 more layer of my sauce. And by this time, you know, up around the top, I like to make them fairly thin layers because we do need room for a nice topping of mozzarella cheese right on top. I think this will probably do it all the way through. Maybe just a touch more. And then we're going to go ahead and grab some mozzarella cheese. Now I've seen people dot it with a few like big chunks or slices of mozzarella cheese. I think that looks really cool. It's certainly a good way to go. You know, if I was doing this for presentation, that might be something I would do because it does look pretty cool. You can impress your guests. But here I'm just making it for myself and my family. So I'm going to go ahead and layer in. This is a good, you know, 1/4 inch thick layer of cheese, kind of all around that topping. Gives it that nice gooey top. And then, you know what? Since I've got some extra Parmesan and Asiago here, we'll add this to the top as well. This will give it some additional flavor and some nice additional color on top as well. So I'm going to go ahead and bake this off in an oven, 375 degrees, for about 45 minutes, but really you're looking for the top to be nice and crusty. What I'm also going to do is put this on a sheet pan or a cookie pan just to protect my stove in case any of it spills out. I'm going to throw it in, we'll take it out when it's done. Okay guys, so I just took my lasagna out of the oven. You can see it gets a little puffy. That's why I put it on the tray here to keep make sure any spills stay nice and contained. I'm looking for a good brown crust, nice melted cheese. Now, a key is to let it sit for at least 20 minutes after you take it out of the oven. If I cut it now, it would just kind of ooze all over the place. So you need to let it cool, you need to let it set a little bit. We're going to come back, we're going to cut it in a few minutes. Okay, my lasagna has rested, so let's go ahead, cut into it. You can obviously go kind of whatever portion size you're looking for. I like to, you know, loosen the side a little bit as well. Then go around, use a nice little sawing motion. And once you got through, alright, we're back with a plate. We're also back with a little sauce. I like to serve my lasagna with a little extra sauce on the side or on the plate. In this case, I'm going to put it right on the bottom. A little kind of dressing, a little hole in the middle there. That's where we're going to put it. Then we dig back in and scoop that piece right out. First one's always a little tricky. And there we go. Beautiful little homemade lasagna. I'll see you next time on No Recipe Required.